Donkey Kong Bananza is not only Nintendo's latest 3D platformer, it's also my favorite. This masterpiece blew away my wildest expectations and grabbed my attention like no other. From a shockingly good story, to amazing and varied music, to an addicting and satisfying gameplay loop, punctuated with the wild and wacky Bonanza transformation forms, Donkey Kong Bananza is the non-Mario Kart system seller people have been waiting for the Nintendo Switch 2. Hello everyone, I am Jmulls, and let's talk about the Kong. Let's start by talking about the element of this game I would never have thought would have been one of my favorite parts. The story. Now, don't worry, I'm not going to get into spoilers here, but what I will say is that I think it was a brilliant decision on Nintendo's part to basically make this game Wreck-It Ralph, with a dynamic between Donkey Kong and Pauline. They're both simple characters, but highly likable characters, and Pauline's banter and her trying to communicate with Donkey Kong throughout the entire game is never not heartwarming. They have a great dynamic going on, and they know when they need the characters to just shut up and let you play the game, and when they need to allow the characters to just communicate and talk. One of the best examples of this, in my opinion, are the hideouts that you can find throughout each of the different layers or the stages. They give you a place to sleep and to rest up, and the more you unlock, the more temporary health you can unlock for that layer. And when you visit a hideout for the first time and you sleep for the first time in that hideout, you'll get a little scene of Pauline talking with Donkey Kong. It's nothing major, it's just a bit of flavor, but it adds to the dynamic and makes these characters, and particularly Pauline, more likable. Pauline wants to be a singer, though she gets super shy when she's trying to sing in front of other people. Donkey Kong just wants bananas. Yeah, his motivations are very clear, let's say. He wears his heart on his sleeve, if he had one. And it's a simple dynamic, but it works so well. And you can really feel both of these characters treasure the friendship they form over the course of the game. You can argue the story overall is just a bit slow in the beginning, but my god, whenever they move the plot along, it works so well. Let's talk about Void Company, essentially the main bad guys for the game. I like them. I think they're well-written villains for the type of story and the type of game that this is. If you have played Mario Odyssey, you'll remember, or you're about to, the Bunny Brigade. The insert we need a boss fight here villains. They didn't really do anything for me, they were just kind of there, they just showed up randomly, they barely had any character, and for me were a weak point in Mario Odyssey. But, as is the case with a lot of elements in Donkey Kong Bananza, you can feel this dev team taking to heart the lessons learned from Mario Odyssey and going in a different direction or iterating on these ideas with Donkey Kong Bananza. Because Void Company fills that role that the bunny villains did in Odyssey, but in here, they actually have personality and character and a story. It kind of varies based on the character, but I like all three of them. There's one that's rather weak sauce in terms of having motivation of being an interesting character, the big guy, but Poppy Kong and Void Kong, they stick the landing with these two, and all of them provide interesting and varied boss fights that iterate on each other over the course of the game. I think Poppy Kong brings like the weakest fights because she's really easy in like all of her fights, but they're unique enough and interesting enough to where I didn't care that much. But we'll get to that later on. But I think Void Company are a great element for this game. They're great antagonists, they have interesting characters by themselves, and they're fun to have on the screen. For a game like this, that's all I need, and I think they do more than enough. I am not going to spoil what the ending to this game is, but c'est magnifique. Like, I'm not joking. The back end of this game is just pure cinema, and I know you're probably not expecting that out of a Donkey Kong game because I wasn't either. But oh my god, this game is an adventure, and it's so dang good. Just how this game unravels and builds off of itself as the game goes on. It's so dang good. Speaking of something that is so dang good, let's talk about the music. This is such a hard year to pick a best OST. Oh my god. Before Donkey Kong Bananza, I thought Expedition 33 had this locked up. Now, I'm not so sure. This soundtrack from top to bottom is incredible. It's varied, and there are certain songs here that just blow me away. You heard one of them in the trailer, Heart of Gold. What a fantastic song that perfectly encapsulates the vibe and the story of this game. It's stupid good. Stupid good. On top of that, the Bonanza Forms, you know, the big transformations you get throughout the game, they all have their own unique songs to them. So Pauline is in the background singing and performing while you're like transformed into these various animals doing a bunch of really cool mechanics, and it just makes the scene, makes the moment that you're transformed feel really cool and hype. It's awesome. And the various stage themes you hear throughout the course of this game just work so damn well. This is a phenomenally constructed soundtrack. Oh my god. And it's one of those experiences where just over the course of the game, I found myself just stopping and appreciating the soundtrack. I normally, when I beat a game, I like to give my brief recap during the credits on my stream, right? And I plan to do that for Donkey Kong Bananza. But when we got to the credits, they just blared Heart of Gold, and listening to that song in context and understanding what the lyrics mean, my god, does it hit so well, especially after that finale. This is what a good soundtrack is supposed to do. Add and amplify the experience of what the game and the story and the gameplay is trying to provide. That is what this soundtrack does in spades. And it made unlocking a new Bonanza form super exciting for me, not just because I was unlocking a whole new way to interface with the game, because all of these forms feel so fundamentally different to each other. No, I was excited for the new song I was going to listen to, because they're all really dang good. They don't sound the same. And the really funny part is that you can swap between Bonanza forms when you're, transformed in the Bonanza form. So you can go from Kong Bananza into Zebra Bonanza into Ostrich Bonanza and back if you want. And the song changes as well, so it just sounds really cool. I love it when games have fun with their soundtracks, but also find unique and interesting ways to implement them into the experience. I think it adds a layer to a game that you don't get without it. And it makes these scenes and makes these moments all the more memorable. But now let's talk about the real reason this game is in Game of the Year contention for me. Let's talk gameplay. To say Donkey Kong Bananza provides a satisfying and addicting gameplay loop would be a gross understatement. This game is brilliant when it comes to how it's constructed and how it executes on all the principles and concepts it sets out to incorporate into the game. The main gimmick of the game is the fact that Donkey Kong is a giant monkey and can punch everything. And you would think, oh, the fact the game lets you destroy the environment must make it so that you can break the game on occasion and really undercut a lot of the intended gameplay design and the level design. I understand that concern and that trepidation because I felt it as well before going into this game. And then you play it and then you realize, oh, these people are just so good at constructing a game because they're able to blend destructible environments alongside materials that you can punch through, that you cannot destroy. They blend all of them to give this game and each of the layers and the levels structure. So where you can still feel as if, oh, I can punch this to get around it if I want to, but the game still feels as if it has structure to it. It doesn't feel like every level boils down to be the same exact thing. No, because each of the layers essentially has a skeleton of an indestructible material, where it's not too much, but it allows the levels to still have structure, all the while allowing you to still interface with everything else. Yeah, it can get in your way on occasion when you know there's something within an indestructible structure that you want to get, whether that be a fossil to collect to unlock more cosmetic appearances, or that be a new banana gem, and you're struggling for a bit as you're trying to find the entrance. That happens on occasion, but I think, again, the pros outweigh the cons here, because none of the levels break down, or at least they didn't for me, to the point where they no longer functioned as intended. I still always had the option to punch something, to dig my own hole through or around something, but it's not as if all these levels just boil down to a rectangle that you can perfectly punch through. No, there is intended level design, there's clear level design, and it makes these levels and these layers feel structured and rewarding to learn and to master. And when you understand each of the layers' unique mechanics alongside the toolkit you have yourself with Donkey Kong by himself or the Bonanza Forms, it makes the game feel varied and consistently excellent. Punching feels so dang good as well. My god, not only do you have good enemy variety, like bats that you can throw chunks of ground materials at to make them fall out of the sky and then you can punch their skeleton, or just regular guys you punch, or little squid guys that camouflage themselves in a swarm as part of the environment, or enemies that rise up from the ground taking on the form of the material that they're on. The game has good enemy variety, and defeating enemies always feels good. The game rewards you for understanding the various abilities you have at your disposal. And I think one of the reasons this game works so well is because in a lot of ways, it's the formula of Mario Odyssey, but in my opinion, done better. Because the main collectible, instead of in Odyssey you had the moons, here you have banana gems. You get them for completing various tasks, fighting them in each of the layers, buying them. There's a lot of different ways to acquire banana gems, but for every 5 banana gems you acquire, you unlock a skill point that you can spend to give or upgrade Donkey Kong with a new ability, or like I said, upgrade an already existing ability. You can also do this for the Bonanza Forms to make them even better, and you can make them really powerful, by the way. Like, for instance, on Kong Bananza, you can make it so when he's charging up a punch, he can't be flinched by being hit by an enemy. You can make it so the charge goes way faster, and that each of the punches hits way harder and destroys more of the environment. All of the upgrades feel good. There's no just lackluster boo, like, oh, Donkey Kong gets 2% more damage. No, 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 no. If you upgrade his punch, you're gonna feel that punch. Unlocking the ability to turf surf, where you grab a chunk of material and you skateboard around on it. You can unlock the ability in the skill tree to do that on water. That makes certain levels that have a lot of water in them way more manageable. By the way, there's no water level. There are levels that have water in them, but you're never diving underneath the water. You're either running on top of the water with zebra form, turf surfing across the water, or just swimming on the surface of the water. Or if you're going under the water for any reason, because there's something just beneath the surface, you're just ground pounding to dive a little bit to get what you need, and then you bob right back up to the surface. It feels so dang good. And again, I've beaten the game. I've rolled credits on this game. It never lets up. It just doesn't. Never did this game feel boring. Never did this game feel repetitive to me. The moment I'm like, okay, this is starting to maybe outstay its welcome, or I'm like, I'm good on this right now, they give you the opportunity to just move on. Or they throw something else at you, something different, something new, something interesting, some new way to interface with the game. This game is constant, and the pacing is one of the best elements of it. If you want, you can stay back at 100% each of the layers if you want to, and then move on. Or you can do what I did, have your fill, and then when you want to move on, do so. You just have to beat the main story for that layer to unlock the next one. You can always just go back to a previous layer as well. This game is so smartly constructed, and you feel that as you're playing it. Oh, and by the way, this game has incredible boss fights. Again, not something I was expecting out of it, but I'm so pleasantly surprised. The boss fights across the board are really good. Some are actually like decently challenging, at least for someone like me, where I don't have too much experience with 3D platformers. I'm more of an RPG or FPS guy, but I had a decent challenge with a few of these fights, especially later in the game, mainly later in the game. A lot of the early ones are kind of like really easy, but they feel constant, they have a good amount of mechanics to them, they feel varied, and even if when they use a boss fight more than once, they mix up the formula just enough to keep it feeling fresh and new. And I love how this game utilizes the sandbox available within it to provide interesting and varied and fun encounters. The boss fights are a standout in this game, and honestly, they would be one of the things I would look forward to the most if I ever replay this game. They're so dang good. But now, let's circle back to those Bonanza Forms. Okay, so from here on out, I kind of have to talk about a couple of things. So the only things I'm going to directly state in this video are what the 2 extra Bonanza forms are that you get that they didn't show in promotional material for this game, and what the post-game consists of. I won't talk about the story behind anything, but in order to properly explain why I love these elements so much, I kind of have to address them. So, just letting you know right now. Okay, so the Bonanza forms are brilliant. They're so dang fun. You have the Kong Bananza form, which allows you to punch really dang hard, and also charge up a punch for a big line AoE. Zebra Bonanza is probably the weakest form in my opinion because it just lets you run really fast, but it also negates things like ice from making you slide around or mud from slowing you down. And it's by no means a boring form. It has its uses. Ostrich form allows you to fly, to glide, to ascend in an updraft, and also drop an egg bomb. Yeah, you can call in an airstrike with your ostrich butt. And then the 2 ones. The 2 they didn't talk about. Elephant and Snake. They're honestly 2 of my favorite. The elephant one being my favorite, because whoever decided that it would be a cool idea to allow Donkey Kong to transform into an elephant and then just suck up like a vacuum cleaner all the environment within an area code around him and then be able to throw those chunks back at enemies deserves 15 different pay raises. My god, it's so dang good when I stumble upon something where I'm like, oh god, I wish this entire environment or this scenery wasn't here. I can transform into the elephant and just suck it all up, and all of a sudden I've strip mined the entire location. It's so dang satisfying. And the snake one, you would think would be a little bit boring because it just gives you a giant bounce, right? You can just jump really high. But it allows you to double jump with 2 charge jumps, and that's crazy by itself. But you can also slow down time with glare. I'm terrible at this mechanic, but it's a really cool idea. And the fact that you can just synergize the snake form with the ostrich form, this is one of the elements that in my opinion showcases brilliant game design and the fact they play tested this. Because you unlock the snake form last. So ordinarily you would think it would be the last one on the little hotbar of the Bonanza forms you cycle through with the D-pad, right? That makes sense. However, naturally, you would want to synergize the snake form with the ostrich form, which you don't unlock until 2nd or 3rd, because you can jump up really high with snake, transform into ostrich, and glide, and that's a very natural synergy. And in a platformer, you may want to do that. It comes in really handy. So instead of just having elephant form slapped in the middle there, being awkward and annoying, and making the game clunky to control to swap between the forms you want to swap between, the game just puts snake and ostrich right next to each other. It's brilliant. It's a very simple little adjustment in the UI, but it goes a long way. This game is so well put together. The Bonanza forms are varied, you have like frequent access to them if you want, but you never feel overly reliant on them or as if regular DK form provides nothing of value. And when you're in the Bonanza forms, you can still punch and do your basic DK stuff in those forms. That was one of my biggest concerns, is like, oh, is Zebra form going to be super boring because I'm just running around and I can't punch things? No, you can still punch. You still ground pound, uppercut, but works. The game just simply works. It's fun, and it never lets up. When you unlock a new Bonanza form, it's exciting, because you get a new tool in your kit, and they all have their uses. Like, Zebra form probably sees the least amount of play from me, but even then, if like the worst Bonanza form is the one that prevents ice from sliding you around and allowing you to run on water, and to grab a chunk and spin it around, that's the worst one. They're all really dang good. Again, I'm not going to spoil what the story is, but there is a post-game here that essentially incentivizes you to go collect a lot of the banana gems. But by doing so, you can unlock upgraded moves or an additional move for each of the Bonanza forms. They keep it a secret until you've unlocked all of the skills and upgraded them for the Bonanza form specifically, but you get a rehearsal where you have to run a gauntlet utilizing the kit that Bonanza form gives you in order to unlock the ability to unlock the golden skill for that Bonanza form. So when you beat the game, if you want more of a reason to play the game gives you that. It's not just like it rolls credits and says, okay, there's nothing else now. No, this game is so jam-packed with content. Not only have you probably not 100% of the game up to that point, but the game gives you access to even more of a chase. It's just so well put together. Again, I can't say this enough. I think for me personally, Donkey Kong Bananza is my favorite 3D platformer I've ever played, because in a lot of ways, it's a 3D platformer that is designed for my specific interests. I really like the story. I love this type of music. I love games that have more action to them than just raw platforming. That's what this game provides me. I love the environments. I love the variety. In a lot of ways, Donkey Kong Bananza feels like a 3D platformer that is designed to please me. And it does. I love this game unabashedly so. And if people were waiting for a legit 10 out of 10 game to sell them on the Switch too, they wanted Nintendo to put out a system seller, something just to come out of right field. Donkey Kong Bananza is that. I thought I would have preferred a 3D Mario game. I am now under the opinion I'm going to prefer 3D Donkey Kong games going forward when we get the next one in probably like 24 years, who knows. I had a smile on my face from start to finish, outside of the couple of times when I forgot a key mechanic existed and I couldn't figure out how to do a puzzle. I had a smile on my face from start to finish. I love this game, I enjoy this game, and I cannot recommend Donkey Kong Bananza enough. I think it's one of the best games Nintendo's ever put out. That is saying something. I think this is one of the best games I've ever played, and here's where you come in. Leave a comment down below. Are you interested in Donkey Kong Bananza? Have you already played it? What are your thoughts on it? I would love to hear your thoughts and hear your opinions and hear your perspectives. Would you like to see more from Bonanza? Would you like to see Nintendo do like DLC for this game? Do you just want them to make a sequel right now? Because I kind of do. What are your thoughts? What are your opinions? What are your perspectives? I'd love to hear them. And while you're down there, leave a like and subscribe for more gaming thoughts and content. Follow me on TikTok, Twitch, and Twitter, Jmulls G. I stream on this channel and Twitch every day. I have a Discord in the description down below. And if you want my initial raw thoughts, my first impressions on Donkey Kong Bananza, and you want to hear me mull over the experience, you should check out this video right here. Stay safe, everybody. Have a great day, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye, everybody. Until we meet again!